So 88% of companies are using AI regularly. And wait for it, 39% are seeing any actual return on it. So what are the other 49% doing? Well, they're pretending. They're pretending it's working. 8 in 10 employees are losing sleep over what AI means for their jobs. The ones losing the most sleep are also using AI the most. Yeah, this is what mid-year 2026 in marketing actually looks like. Let me tell you about the June reckoning. Stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back to Rose Colored Glasses. I'm Robert Rose, marketing consultant and chief strategy advisor at the Content Marketing Institute, and I'm kicking off a 4-part series here on what I'm calling the June reckoning, right? An honest mid-year assessment that most marketing teams, maybe could use right about now as they start their own mid-year assessment about where their marketing strategies stand. So here's the thing about mid-year marketing updates to senior leadership. They've been about the same thing for as long as most of us have been getting invited to them, right? Here's what happens. We report the first half of the year's results. We get the second half instructions, which is stretch the budget, find efficiencies, cut something. You know, it's all called lean marketing or the agile marketing or performance marketing, then growth marketing, then for some inexplicable reason, GTM motions. Anyway, the decks don't change, basically, and the ask doesn't change, right? It's basically the same. Do more with less. Now, the last 2 years have given us a vocabulary refresh. So AI was supposed to be the thing that was going to actually make that strategy work, to do more with less. AI was going to do the more with less for us. Or is it with us? For us, with us? I can't keep up these days. Anyway, it's not working out either way. This year, as the mid-year update season hits, we can bet that somebody on the team has the slide. You know the one I'm talking about. It's the one that says AI transformation on track, with almost assuredly an AI-generated image on it of a robot shaking hands with a person. Everybody in the meeting sees the slide, do more with less, robot shaking hands, there we go, and nobody says a thing. But everybody also knows that exactly none of it is the least bit on track. Right? The slide implies we're doing more with less. Well, okay, maybe that part's actually true. We are doing more with less, except AI hasn't taken on the more. You have, your team has, and AI just added more to the more, right? You and your team were already doing more, and AI just added more to the more. But this year, the data we're seeing is actually finally catching up. The zeitgeist is actually catching up with where people feel about AI. McKinsey reports 88% of companies are using AI regularly now, but only 39% are seeing any positive impact on their earnings. A February Harvard Business Review study found that 80% of employees now have a strong concern about at least one AI-related threat to their job. 65% worry they'll be replaced by someone who knows AI better. 44% think AI is making them dumber. The most interesting finding to me, which echoes our own CMI career and salary outlook research, by the way, is this. Employees with the highest AI anxiety are using AI more than the employees with the lowest anxiety. 65% versus 42%. Now, the researchers' interpretation of this, and this is the important part, usage reflects self-protection rather than genuine confidence or innovation. Translation on that? A meaningful chunk of the AI usage on your team is from people who are scared of not using AI, right? So this year, maybe we don't pretend or we stop pretending. So 2 more studies that land into this because I think it's important. The first one from Optimizely and Heinz Marketing in late April, and they called their research the passion pressure paradox. They served 227 senior marketing professionals, and 4 out of 10 of them, 41.8%, say their role is only 50-50 creative on a good day. Almost as many, 37.9%, say their work is now primarily coordination and not creative or strategic output. Sit with those 2 numbers for just a second. I mean, if almost 4 in 10 marketers are spending most of their time coordinating, the AI productivity story is really missing something pretty important. The productivity went somewhere. It just didn't go to the people doing the work. Tara Corey, Optimizely's SVP of Marketing, said it really well. She said, if teams are only using AI to increase their output, they're just accelerating the chaos. That is what is happening in marketing in 2026. We've accelerated the chaos. Now, the second study comes from the University of College Dublin, right? And on first read, This one seems like it's really good news for that breathless Silicon Valley agentic vibe marketing kind of crowd. I mean, they set up this economic negotiation game, real money on the table. Some participants thought they were negotiating with AI, and some thought they were negotiating with a human. Now, the unfair offers, the sort of get something or get nothing unfair offer, was 90 cents to the proposer, 10 cents to the responder. Now, people who thought they were negotiating with AI accepted that unfair offer 49.2% of the time. People who thought that they were dealing with a human only accepted it 37.5% of the time. Headline conclusion: AI drives more rational outcomes. Game over, right? AI drives more rational outcomes. There's your headline. Well, no. Read the methodology. The researchers don't think AI made the decisions more rational. What they think is that humans changed their behavior when they thought AI was co-working with them. Because we hold this deep lay belief that AI is completely logical, we perform logically to then match. In other words, the shift was driven by the belief about AI, not by AI itself. And the kind of rational the researchers measure here is that narrow, self-interested kind, right? The getting something and accepting an unfair split because getting something beats getting nothing. Now, the authors put a warning 2 paragraphs later that is not getting as much coverage in the headlines here. And this kind of rationality, and I'm quoting them now, says the researchers, may simultaneously erode the social and ethical sensitivities that underpin cooperative behavior. The translation of that into real sort of humanese, right? Humans next to AI suppress their fairness and pro-social instincts to perform more transactionally. Now, I synthesized this with the HBR finding that I just talked about a couple of minutes ago. What we can see is that human workers using those AI more become less engaged, more transactional, and less relational when they think AI is co-working with them. It's not about productivity, not creativity, transactional by proxy. And I cannot think of 3 worse things to say about a marketing team than they have become less engaged, more transactional, and less relational. Marketing is supposed to do the opposite of all 3. So here's where the argument really, I think, needs to take a turn. For 2 years, the bumper sticker debate inside marketing and marketing practitioners has been a tired binary. Will AI replace marketers, or will it augment them into X-Men superheroes with laser beams coming out of their eyes? Augment or replace was framed as the defining question, and it was and still is the wrong question. The real question is one marketing has been honestly asking for 26 years and never really fully answering. That is, in a world that's driven by technology and automation, what work deserves a human's time? And for that work, should AI be helping the humans do it more deeply, more creatively, or just faster? Those 2 questions dissolve the augment or replace debate. They start with the human as the value, not the technology. Some work needs and deserves humans because it requires that judgment, that taste, that ownership. That work is still worth doing. AI can make it better when AI is used to deepen the thinking. Now, other work was never really the work to begin with. It was the friction around the work. AI is clearing some of that friction, which is fine. The trap that we fall into is the work that sits in between. There's 2 flavors of that. The first is, of course, real work, real judgment required, and AI is being applied to accelerate instead of improve. That's what Optimizely means when they say more content, less impact. The second is the busy work, the jobs that should have never existed, the jobs that don't deserve a human or AI that actually to do them, that we are now using AI to automate instead of kill, and it's requiring more of our skills and tasks to set those things up. Marketing has been accumulating those jobs for 26 years, and automating them now makes them faster, but they're not more valuable, and they're still taking our time. So back in January, I wrote a piece for this column, and I called it How to Separate Real Value from AI Theater. And in it, I shared what I'd learned analyzing more than 500 agentic AI use cases. The headline finding there was that 45% of the project teams that are trying to implement fill into what I call the supplement quadrant. Tools that make existing work deeper, not faster, deeper research, improving copy and content rather than producing it faster, pressure testing strategy, pressure testing thought leadership, more creative exploration, slowing down the process. AI didn't make these jobs unnecessary for people to perform. What AI did was make them worth doing at that level of depth again. Ironically, these often get labeled as failures because they don't reduce time, they don't reduce cost or headcount, and in fact, they require more skill, more governance, more human judgment, and often more humans. Meanwhile, senior leadership most often expects enhancement use cases, new capability, and more efficiency. That's the quadrant most of the AI transformation decks are sitting on right now. But wait for it. Enhancement is the smallest share of projects providing actual value, only about 6%. That gap is the rub. We're doing the right thing by creating AI to help us be more thoughtful. The expectation is that we're creating AI to make us do more things and be augmented and do things faster. That gap is not going to work out in the long run. So 3 things to do this week. 1, pull that AI initiative slide for your mid-year update. The one with the percentages, the timelines, the productivity gains. Put it on a screen. Look at it honestly. Let's mark which gains actually materialized and which materialized in a watered-down version and which is materializing because we're doing the work, not necessarily AI. 2, find both those traps. The chaos trap if you're producing more content with less impact, or you bought speed where you needed depth, the busy work trap. If AI is automating coordination and reformatting work that was never supposed to be, you preserve tasks that should have been killed. Yeah, remember, just because AI can do a task doesn't mean it's a valuable task. 3, find that supplement work where AI has made work worth doing again. Deeper, slower, more thoughtful, more valuable, more creative. Those are the use cases worth protecting in your H2 plan. They're also the cases that nobody's probably bragging about because they usually come with some form of an ask of more budget, more humans, more time, more training, more skills. Protect them anyway. By the way, this is the kind of work I'm doing right now with my clients in consulting. We're building that H1 audit, identifying the supplement work, and if your team is staring down a mid-year update and you want some help, I'd love to talk to you. So the full article version is going to be linked in this post, and the next 3 episodes for this is going to talk about that audit framework, right? The picture, the external data is painting, and the leadership doesn't really understand right now, and maybe 4 pivots that most teams should be making before they start their Q4 planning for 2027. For now, take that AI initiative slide down and go figure out what it really means. Good luck with your mid-year update anyway, and I'll see you next week. Remember, it's your story to tell. Tell it well.